Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe eleison, Christe eleison, Kyrie eleison, Kyrie eleison, Christe adino, Christe adino, Christe exadino, Christe exadinos, Pater Decelis Deum, miserere nobis, Filii Redemptor mundi Deum, miserere nobis, Spiritus Sancte Deum, miserere nobis, Sancta Trinitas Unus Deum, miserere nobis, Sanguis Christi, unigeniti Patris Aeterni, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, Verbi Dei incarnati, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, novi et aeterni testamenti, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in agonia decurrens intera, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in flagellatione profluens, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in coronatione spinarum emanas, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in cruce fusus, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, pretium nostre salutis, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, sine quo non fitre missio, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in Eucharistia potus et lavacrum animarum, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, flumen misericordiae, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, victor demonum, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, fortitudo martyrum, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, virtus confessorum, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, germinans virgines, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, rubor periclitantium, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, levamen laborantium, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, in fletus solatium, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, spes penitentium, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, solamen morientium, salva nos. Sanguis Christi, pax et dulcedo cordium, salva nos. potens sempiterne Deus, qui unigenitum Filium tuum mundi Redemptorem constituisti, ac eius sanguine placari voluisti, concere quesumus salutis nostre pretium solemni cultuita venerari, atque a presentis vitae malis, eius virtute defendi interis, ut fructu perpetuo letemur in celis, per iundem Dominum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium tuum, qui tecum vivit et regnat in unitate Spiritus Sancti Deus, per omnia saecula saeculorum.
Domine, quid multiplicati sunt qui tribulant me, multi insurgunt adversum me.
Multi dicunt anime me, non ex salus ipsi in Deo elus.
Tu autem Domine susceptor meus es, gloria mea et exaltans caput meum.
Voce mea Dominum clamavi, et exaudivit me de monte sancto suo.
Ego dormivi et soporatus sum, et resurrexi quia Dominus suscepit me.
Non timem homilia populi circumdantis me. Exurge Domine salvum me fac Deus meus.
Quoniam te percussisti omnes adversantes mihi sine causa, tentes peccatorum contrivisti.
Domini es salus, et super populum tuum benedictio tua. Gloria Patri et Filio et Spiritui Sancto. Sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen. Iudica Domine nocentes me, expunia impuniantes me. Apprehende alma et scutum, et exurge in adiutorium mihi. Effunde frameam et conclude adversus eos qui persecuntur me. Dic anime me salus tua ego sum. Confundantur et revereantur, querentes anima mea. Avertantur et rosum et confundantur, cogitantes mihi mala.
Fiam tamquam pulvis ante faciem vendi, et angelus Domini coactans eos.
Fiat via illorum tenebre et lubricum, et angelus Domini persequens eos.
Quoniam gratis absconderunt mihi interitum laquei sui, super vacue exprobaverunt animam mea.
Veniat illi laqueusque mignorat, et captio quam abscondita prahendat eium, et in laqueum cadat in ipsum.
Anima autem mea exultavit in Domino, et delectabitur super salutaris suo.
Omnia ossa mea dicent, Domine qui similis tibi.
Elipiens in opem de manu fortiorum eius, egerum et pauperem ad iripiensibus eum.
Surgentes testes iniqui, quae ignorabam interrogabant me.
Retribuebant mihi mala probonis, sterilitate anime meae.
Ego autem cum mihi molesti essent, induebar cilicio.
Humiliabam in unio anima mea, et oratio mea in sino meo convertentur.
Quasi proximum et quasi fratrem nostrum sic complacebam, quasi lugens et contristatus sic humiliabam.
Et orbe sumeletati sunt et convenerunt, congregata sunt super me flagella et ignoravi.
Dissipati sunt ne compuncti, tentaverunt me subsanaverunt me subsanatione, frenduerunt super me dentibus suis.
Domine, quando res vigies, restitue animam meam a malignitate eorum a leonibus unicam mea.
Confitebor tibi in ecclesia magna, in populo gravi laudabo te.
Non super gaudiant mihi qui adversantur mihi inique, qui oderunt me gratis et annunt oculi.
loquebantur, et in iracundia ter eloquentes dolos cogitabant,
Et illata verum super meo dixerunt iuge viderunt oculi nostri.
vidisti Domine ne sileas, Domine ne discedas a me.
Exurge et intende iudicio meo, Deus meus et Dominus meus in causa mea.
Iudica me secundum justitiam tuam, Domine Deus meus, et non super gaudeant mihi.
Non dicant in cordibus suis, iuge anime nostre, nec dicant devoravimus eo.
Erubescant et revereantur simul, qui gratulantur malis meis.
Induantur confusione et reverentia, qui mania locuuntur super me.
Exultent et letentur qui volunt justitia mea, et dicant semper magnificetur Dominus qui volunt pacem servi eius.
Et lingua mea meritabitur justitiam tua, tota die laudem tua. Gloria Patri et Filio, et Spiritui Sancto, sicut erat in principio et nunc et semper, et in saecula saeculorum. Amen.
Usque equo Domine oblivisceris me infine, usque qua avertis faciem tuam, quam Dio bonam consilia in anima mea, dolorem in carne meo perdie. Usque qua exaltantur inimicus meus super me, respicet exaurime Domine Deus meus. Illumina oculos meos neumquam dormiam in morte,
Not being captured by OBS.
quam nodicat inimicus meus prevalui adversus eo.
Qui tribulant me exultabunt sim mortus fuero, ego autem in misericordia tua speravi.
Exultabit cor meum in salutari tuo, cantabut Domino qui bona tribuit mihi, et salam Domini
Odd. Upon closer inspection, it does appear to be captured by OBS, but for whatever reason, it's not actually visible within OBS.
Huh.
What in heaven's name? What even? Somehow it appears to have turned itself something akin to a single pixel wide.
Yeah, I don't know how that would have happened.
Alright, it is currently on top. It is no longer a single pixel wide. OBS is showing internally that it is being captured, but it is not visible. Why?
Sancta Trinitas unus Deus, miserere nobis, Iesu Filii Dei vivi, miserere nobis, Iesu splendor Patris,
Trying to load up one of the other avatars, it's not fix it.
lucis aeternae, miserere nobis, Iesu Rex Gloriae, miserere nobis, Iesus sol justitiae, miserere nobis, Iesu Filii Mariae Virginis, miserere nobis, Iesu amabilis, miserere nobis, Iesu admirabilis, miserere nobis, Iesu Deus fortis, miserere nobis.
Alright, I'll likely have to reposition and resize this later for the author as well as the bird, but at least now it's functional. Effectively, I had to delete the old version and recreate it. Very odd, very annoying.
Yeah, it's fixed.
That's what we needed doing. Extreme and more technical issues. As if the author didn't already run into something regarding the controller. But at least this game is simple enough to control with keyboard and mouse. Not unlike the trash heap that is Assassin's Creed 2. Ugh. Don't know who thought that was a good idea. Anyways.
I mean, I would definitely never want to play those games not on a controller.
Which is correct. For the most part, you would want to use a controller for them given their control scheme. But you should really take a look at the board and see at what we had to deal with in regards to how the game presented those controls, and more importantly, the QuickTime events.
Was it like still showing keyboard and mouse controls, or?
No. For starters, for whatever reason, the PC version doesn't have native controller support. That's not the issue.
Seriously?
Yes, apparently there have been several issues in and out of the PC version. In fact, the author actually had to restart the stream due to various technical issues, which had about a dozen possible causes that all had the same end result of effectively turning the game into a seizure simulator.
Good times.
But beyond that, the way it presents the controls to you, it does not tell you which button to push. It does not say left mouse button for this, right mouse button for that, LARS to move, etc., etc. It says push
See,
the head button, push the feet button, push the open hand button, push the button of a skull with a question mark next to it.
none of these are very helpful.
You are correct. Whoever decided that was a good decision deserves to be thrown off a bridge.
Yeah, fair.
At any rate, grievances that I share with the author, as well as some technical issues out of the way, and the Moo retrieved from a game I never thought she would go back to, let's begin properly. Good evening, everyone.
I would have played more of it in the past too. It was just I never really had people to play with, but Huron and Speed play it all the time, so I decided to give it another try.
I suppose I'll have to reinstall it at some point, but I have no idea whether or not I'd be up to streaming it. I suppose the Dead by
Yeah.
Daylight, which I shall never go back to.
We only actually played one game, but I actually did pretty well. I got 2 quick headshots on this team of 3 we encountered. I dropped 2 of them in like the space of 5 seconds.
Very good.
Huron and Spee were both
Okay.
just like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" I was also like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Because I'm not really good at these games.
But yes, good evening, everyone. Hopefully you're doing well, whether you're sitting with us now, whether you've been lurking since the beginning of the stream, half an hour ago, or whether you are viewing this in the future and a VOD. Tonight, I will be continuing into the second chapter of Faith. Speaking of which, did you manage to find time to watch the first VOD, dear?
Sorry, I did not.
Right, how best to summarize? Obviously, as I have insinuated, the first chapter follows the no longer approved priest, John Ward, as he goes back to the site of a previously failed exorcism. Said exorcism was done under his superior and mentor, who did not survive the process of attempting to exorcise a young adult/teenage girl who lived with her parents. The end result of this failed exorcism was not only John being stripped of his position, but effectively being sent to a mental institution, from which he later left. But unfortunately, he continued experiencing nightmares, hence why he headed back. Unfortunately, the possessed girl, after another attempt at exorcism, threw herself out of a window. And from there, you have a number of possible endings. The canon
Okay.
ending is to effectively shoot a creature which has been haunting you the entirety of your journey through the forest, which we'll be finding out a little more about during the second chapter. Beyond that, there's other various details, such as the mother of the woman who was possessed also having twins, there being mentions of a cult in the background who also show up in one of the endings, something called the Second Death, which is a bit of a process which was for now redacted, etc., etc. With that out of the way, let's go ahead and kill the music, dim the lights, and start the game.
Okay.
September 21st, 1987. It's been 1 year since I first went inside that house. I have to finish what I started.
And yes, I will let
What
this
I am
cutscene play
about
out
to
over
do
time
has
so
not been
this game.
approved by the Vatican.
Confirmation. Status. Not approved by the Vatican.
Vigilando, Chapter 2. Looks like there are 35 notes, quite a lot more. Let's see if we can mop all of them up. Looks like there is a turbo mode to unlock, which we will not be using. As well as a prologue, which confoundingly you need to go through this chapter to unlock. Father Garcia, you are hereby instructed to release... Bit of a terror pursued down the wrong pipe. You are hereby instructed to release Michael Davies from your custody and return him to his home immediately. Mr. and Mrs. Davies have already been contacted by our office. A representative of the church is currently en route to their home to discuss compensation in return for their discretion. You will meet our representative there and accompany him back to Rome. Cardinal Gifford. Given this walk speed, you might see why turbo mode might initially be tempting. Clearly not doing so well. And that would be what we were chased behind the first game. Incidentally, after you shoot the thing, it ends up stumbling in front of a car. They can't actually identify it as human or an animal, and they assume it's some sort of weird thing like a chupacabra.
Understandable.
How are we doing today, Michael? I like to go home. You can't go home until you get better, Michael. Can I see Mommy and Daddy? I need to make you better first. When she let you get on me, she'll kill you. If you find them to be people, you will not be together.
That's not good. Certainly wasted no time carving symbols all over. Or
Apparently
stealing
should have
photos of
restrained it
itself.
a little better.
Dios mío, what have you done? I have someone in the pit! You can't hide
That's
from
not an answer.
evil. You shall breathe Sarasasi Almighty.
It's 2 a.m. Have you forgotten already? The notes people leave behind seem to exist on the edges of memory. Pressing the escape key or the start button, as opposed to something asinine like the butt key or the left leg button. Well, the start button is a good way to remember what you don't realize you've forgotten. If you're in a hurry, hold spacebar or the action button to skip cutscenes. Good evening, Saigoku. As always, thank you very much, hello dear, for your viewership. I hope you get to work safe, and I hope it goes well. Hello dear.
Yes, hello.
Notice, Navesa. The current investigation being conducted at Gallup Cemetery by the State of Connecticut Historical Society has been postponed until further notice. In the interim, we ask the public to avoid the cemetery grounds, the surrounding woods, any wildlife, and any unidentified persons roaming the area. Thank you for your patience. Ah yes, cemeteries with self-opening gates, always a good thing. Also, some might notice that John's cross has gone from gold to silver between games.
Sure, that's probably deliberate.
I shook hands with the devil. I looked him in the eye. He looked like a long-lost friend. Dearest disciple, verily not everyone who says Lucifer and Lucifer shall inherit his kingdom. You must first conjure his demon. You must then serve his demon. You must then walk among the children of men as his demon. Thus shall you receive the blessing of the unspeakable. Return to the safe family tomb whenever you are in need of rest. Gary. Which is, perhaps, not the most subtle way to indicate where and how you might save in this chapter. But I suppose it works.
It's quite funny.
It feels like something out of the Monkey Island series, to be frank.
Yeah, that feels the right vibe.
It's like
What an astute observation, John. Enter the spirit house. Mirror, mirror on the wall. I don't care about 7 years bad luck. Give me that key, you dick. Unfortunately, we have a bit of legwork to do. Also, for those who have yet to figure it out, or who weren't there for the first stream, in case you're wondering why occasionally I just come to a complete standstill and hold up the cross, there are effectively random pieces of a background that you have to exercise, which will then give you a note. aside from it just being your main method of quote-unquote combat. I believe it got a little stuck in the background.
You kind of just exploded.
Yes, you have exactly 1 hit point. That is to say, you die instantly. Which, in the event of some enemy randomly getting stuck on a piece of scenery and you're losing track of where it is because it makes several jumps in position, but it doesn't actually, well...
Yeah. It's kind of cool how it uses the clouds to hide itself.
Only know to stop screaming. If I suppose I fix that. Losing Grandpa was the hardest thing I ever experienced. We were really close. I cried about it for weeks. But my stepmom introduced me to some of her friends. They asked me, would you like to see your grandfather again? I missed him so much I was willing to try anything. That night, my stepmom drove me to one of her friends' house. They took me down to the basement. I saw my grandfather in there. Only it wasn't actually him. When I tried to run, they closed the basement door and locked me in. Can't remember much else from that night. My stepmom's friends are always coming by the house now. They tell me I have a debt to pay. They say they have work for me to do. It's with great sadness that the Sterling community announced the passing of Cindy Marie Martin, 38, and Robert Kimball Martin, 40, devoted husband and wife and beloved parents. Their lives tragically came to an end on September 21st due to an accident in their home. Bob was a training advisor for the United States Navy and Cindy was a CPA, and more recently a stay-at-home mother. They were married March 12, 1969 in Voluntown. Though not particularly religious, they taught their children to be kind, generous, and involved in the community. A public closed casket memorial will be held at Tillinghast Funeral Home at 10 a.m. Thursday. Burial services will proceed shortly after. Bob and Cindy are survived by their daughter Amy and twin boys Nate and Jason. We have alright. tipsy then.
Apparently you spooked it away.
I'm an angel.
There are lots of strange-looking angels, but I don't believe you quite qualify as one. Apparently, the cord there also counts as a hurt box. Fortunately, you put a checkpoint up there.
I'm an angel. Bio-lantern.
Sorry, I didn't quite get that. Nobody was thrilled when I got pregnant. Not even a little happy. Even my doctors seemed to be judging me. Each time I'd leave the doctor's office, I'd see this strange woman across the street. All she'd do was stare at me and smile. No words, just a big, warm smile. Somehow it made those visits a little more bearable. After I lost the baby, I saw her again across the street from the doctor's. Her smile was as big as ever, but somehow not as warm and friendly as I remember. Yesterday I was walking and was shocked to see the woman standing in the middle of a path. Now she was pregnant. She beckoned toward me. I followed her off the path into the woods. And that's when I met Gary. That will crop up again and again. I'm just going to try and walk up a little while and see if this is exactly like a Legend of Zelda. It lasts would be too easy. Probably has something to do with the statues. Right up, left up. Well, hello there. Will you now? least this spell's over easier than the other two. I've been freed. No more overbearing father turned violent alcoholic. No more hiding my bruises and cuts. No more pins and needles. No more getting laughed at and kicked around. They'll never laugh at me again. By day, my body withers away, but by night, my mind explores forbidden worlds of power and knowledge, guided by beings of pure darkness. I've been trusted with secret knowledge of the demon's seal. I've learned the correct conjuring sign, drawing the inverted star along the rocks arranged in vine, which sounds a little familiar. First at the top left point, and then down. I will lure them into the woods, then I will show them my power. Well, looks like this statue didn't have a good time. Well, hello there,
No,
Mia.
I have got a slight change.
Well, that was rude, but I suppose thank you for the key.
Okay.
At least the statue is better. Now that we have a key... We've also stopped bleeding for the time being. Well, alrighty then. Just what we need, trees that aren't actually trees. Ah, the wonder of music. The moment it cuts out, the tension rises.
They all look the same as far as I can tell.
She guards the door to underground purgatory. I have not seen her. Children fear her. Confess thy sins. Day 1 of our paranormal investigation into the old Snake Meadow Hill Church. We've got 3 cameras, a box of tapes, and enough beer and beef jerky to last us a week. On our way in, we asked some of the locals about the church. It was mostly the stories we had heard before. Evil spirits dragging children into the cornfield and secret tunnels underneath the chapel. But there was this spindly lady game that we hadn't heard yet. Apparently it has to do with summoning the spirit of a woman who used to take care of the orphans back in the 50s. There was even an old nursery rhyme they told us. Walk the church room to room, and maybe you will see her. But she will move when you do, and never try to trick her. Awesome. We're going to try the game tonight as soon as we get settled in. I'm sure that went swimming. Well, that seems suspect.
I mean, there's a confession booth. Oh, okay.
I don't know that, but
I was just gonna say, it said to rest my sins.
I'm aware of that. I was paying attention to the candles, which seem to be changing, and may tell you exactly where the spindly lady may be. So we are currently at the bottom middle, and she is in the upper right.
Right.
Night 3. Shouldn't have come here. Tape's missing. Lars stuck behind basement door. Henry hasn't come back yet. Can't leave anyway.
Pray for me, Father, for I have sinned. What sins have you done to confess? I tried to save a girl from evil, but my fears overcame me. I turned my back on the ministry and broke my vows to God. A year later, the girl reached out to me again, but in the end, I couldn't save her. I left her to die. I am sorry for me and my past sins. Thou hast said will. Here is my penance. Bring the child to me. Perform this act of contrition, and thou shalt have the peace thou seekest. Give thanks to the Lord for his good. For his mercy endures forever.
Yeah, this seems totally legit.
Like how John didn't have anything to say with when we are suddenly not in the same place.
Nothing concerning about that.
Well, alright, something happened with the painting there before we picked this up. Night 1. We still haven't found a way into the basement, but we found something just as cool. A secret passage in the old confession booth leading to this hallway. Which might explain that. Henry's going into town to buy a crowbar. Let's see if we can't get these boars off some of these doors. And that's not even the best part. We caught an EVP. Can't hear it on tape very well, but to us it kind of sounds like laughing. Thank God we bought the nice mic. We'll review it on the sound kit once we get back into town. Suffice to say, they didn't appear to have gotten that far. Goes without saying, but I'm trying to avoid walking into the same room. Also appears there's some sort of trapdoor down here. Good evening, Timmy. Hopefully you're faring well. Watch the candle as you're a bit late in that regard, but thank you all the same, I suppose. I was able to read
Not
that
sure how
already, but
anyone-
thank you.
Really not sure how anyone could have not figured that out at this point, but
An interesting design, I suppose.
I guess it was temporarily in the same room as you there.
Yes, in which case we had enough time to run away before something happened. Night 2.
Yeah.
We're gonna be rich. We've caught supernatural stuff on camera before, sure. Doors opening on their own, things falling off the shelves, but nothing like this. Tonight, while we were trying to spin the lady game again, one of the candles on the floor lit up by itself as soon as Lars walked into the room. It was nuts and we got all on film. We gotta make a fortune selling this to the TV stations. Incidentally, when we were attempting to exorcise Amy back in the first chapter, her face appeared to be missing. And after a certain point, an arm had reached out of that hole.
I see.
And we're still missing. I'll be honest, I was not entirely expecting there to be somewhere to walk through. Still missing a way for us to progress, at least in regards to potentially getting into a church basement. Outside of bringing a child to them, but that may be ill-advised. I had to come back. I had to walk through the corn one last time. I wasn't sure what I would find. The dogs, the children, the thing that took them. It had been 5 years. Couldn't even find little graves anymore. Just walked in the field till I found that stupid grinning scarecrow. As I listened to the night wind blowing through the crops, it's like the scarecrow was mocking me. I turned around to go back, but that's when I heard it behind me. Well, it was more like I felt it. I didn't dare turn around. We just stood there. Me, the scarecrow, and the doomed child. Finally, I mustered up the tiny bit of courage and turned to look, and immediately fled in the opposite direction, crashing through the rows of corn. I ran too. The little I saw of it drained the blood from my face and made my skin crawl. I say it, because whatever I was looking at didn't have a face. It's a bloody, gaping hole. That sounds familiar. Corn, nothing but corn. Some tea.
What kind of tea?
Just some standard sweet tea for now.
It's fair.
Well, we do have one distinct possibility. But I'm going to see if I'm still able to go back and save first, just so I don't have to pick up all those notes, assuming the bloody tree doesn't attempt to kill me in the interim. Oh god, it still saves our progress. Considering the do not try to trigger text, as well as the fact that she didn't kill us instantly via the tower in there, I'm going to assume there's some sort of combat mechanic with her. And I simply triggered whatever causes her to instantly kill you. For heaven's sake, get back here. It does not help that she can evidently go through walls.
Forces flush.
Yes, I can attempt to combat, in which case this will be an extended process. 3 teleports and then she charges. Question being if I have to get out the room before those teleports are finished, or if I simply have to dodge the rush. Incidentally, there is an achievement as well as a mode to unlock by getting through all 3 chapters and the respective golden canon endings without dying once. No
Right.
breaks. Wonders of RNG.
Forces flush.
Well, alright then. Removed and banished, and we might continue. Darkness surrounds thee. This is my final memoir, hastily scribbled on a page of the good book. In which case, I question how we're reading this, given the fact that most text from the Bible would be covering virtually every page. Unless you scroll this on the back of a map or something, in which case it'd be a little more legible. I now descend the staircase, knowing full well that she awaits for me ahead. Checking my old watch has revealed something quite astonishing. Time doesn't change down here as we know it on the surface. Even now the hands don't move past 2 a.m. God's work be done. I have been where only the faintest lights shine and protect from things unspeakable. God help me, Father Clark. Foolish old man, going mad in this dark prison. He is bleeding from the screams of a demon. Well, I assume that is going to be immediately relevant in some capacity. Leastwise, because it appears to be fashioned like a clock. In which case, perhaps we should simply aim at the symbol that appears like an H. Well, that didn't quite work.
I would say not.
H, X2. Any symbols on here? Or all 12 of them? About 10 of them, in which case we'd likely have to move similar to a clock. In which case, I'm not going to attempt to memorize this myself. No screenshot feature. Well, alright, there we are. Mother of Demons, it says. Sure, whatever you say. Some also very odd. I'm not sure if I could call these statues. Graveyard to a church to a shack. No dear. I'm sure this will go great. 3 murdered in the latest wave of ritualistic killings. Stirling, Connecticut. The bodies of 3 young people were discovered in the woods outside of Stirling last night, in what authorities are calling a ritualistic murder. Sandra Atwood, Angel Nogales, and Troy Ingles were the names of the unfortunate victims who were apparently stabbed multiple times and beheaded before being killed in a paganistic ritual. Pandemonium regnat. 2 of the victims' bodies were also partially burned, although authorities will not specify who. The bodies were found several miles from Gallup Cemetery, where residents reported a tomb had been desecrated. They also found trails of blood leading off into the woods. Investigators would not comment on whether or not these 2 incidents could be related. The arrangement of the bodies in a ritualistic pattern, as well as the writing of certain symbols in blood, matches the style of several murders that have occurred in the Sterling area since 1986. The killings may be connected to last week's brutal slaying of Amy Martin, a 17-year-old girl, by John Ward. Ward had impersonated a priest to gain Amy's trust before luring her into the woods and killing her. Investigators are asking residents to report any suspicious activity to the police. Authorities are urging the people of Sterling to not mourn the loss of Atwood, Douglas, and Ingles, because, after all, they were degenerate, devil-worshipping thugs who were hooked on crack, cocaine, and hated their parents. Why even conduct an investigation at all? That's what you would like them to think, wouldn't you, John? They were just three pathetic outcasts who got what they deserved. You actually did community a favor when you found them getting high in that tomb. You stalked them through the graves and killed them one by one. You ignored their cries for help, their pleas for mercy. You put holes in their ruined, drug-addicted bodies and then chopped out their heads, because everybody knows that removing the head is the only way to kill. Snake. Well, guess what? You didn't kill the snake, John. You cannot kill what cannot be killed. Thou shalt not raise up what thou canst not put down again. Thou couldst not kill any. Thou shalt not destroy my works, for they are the works of the eternal dragon. Even now she is at thy door, her hand is at thy throat, yet you have seen her not. I will have thy soul, for I am the god of this world. And then a whole lot of pandemonium ignots that. Who isn't that edgy? I'm here, John. Well, I suppose that ends things. So much for John. Except not quite.
What the fuck?
What, you haven't ever wanted to play a game where you play as a melted down puddle of a man?
Not particularly. You're good now, I guess. Candy tunnel. Uh-huh.
Therefore, it's in the candy tunnel. Just
It
ask
often
anyone
does.
who's watched Willy Wonka.
There's no earthly way of knowing which direction we are going.
Multiple officers wounded, one dead, in sewer tunnel shootout. Law enforcement officials are reporting multiple officers down, including one deputy who was fatally wounded after an exchange of gunfire in the sewer tunnels near Snake Meadow Hill Road, also known as the Candy Tunnel. Witnesses say they heard the shots approximately 10 minutes after police raided the tunnels, where suspected murderer Joe Bowman, aka the Candy Store Killer, was alleged to be hiding. At this time, it's not known how many officers have been wounded, although it's been confirmed that one officer has been killed. Officers are not saying if Bowman was wounded in exchange, but efforts are being made to recover the casualties from the tunnels. Suffice to say, those may not be going well. Leastwise for the various, needles lying around or anything to go by. Ah yes, how ominous Saturn lives. I don't know, wool can be a little more comfortable depending on the weather. Two more dead discovered outside the Candy Tunnel near Stirling. Two more bodies have been recovered from the drainage ditch on the Snake Meadow Hill Road outside Stirling. The notorious Candy Tunnel, known in the area to be a home to addicts, gangs, runaways, and the indigent. Indigent? I'm not familiar with the term. Has been the site of several grisly discoveries over the past 3 months. Since May, 5 bodies have been recovered from the drainage ditch leading to the tunnels. Authorities are being pressured by concerned citizens to search the tunnels amid fears of a possible connection to Joe Bowman, aka the Candy Store Killer, who's claimed 8 victims in Connecticut and Rhode Island over the past year.
The word indigent was what you were unsure of?
Correct.
It basically just means poor.
Fair enough then. Why not just say homeless then?
I don't know.
Wait a little bit and goodbye. Great, well, thank you, I believe I shall. When you see it, don't move. Thank you for those words of wisdom, but you did this in the most asinine and ridiculous way possible. Really, it's impressive that you managed to keep things so separated. Sadly, some demons are like T-Rexes. Well, that properly leads somewhere, so let's see if there's anything else back here.
Satin lives.
Yes, you missed me joking about that earlier.
I must have. Here.
This is as far as I'll go to hide my stash. Nobody goes past the first pipe. Nobody except those strange people with their bodies painted red and their eyes like animals. Twice a month they come and pass right through into the deeper tunnels. Sometimes I can hear them yelling or chanting. Sometimes I hear something like an old woman laughing. Sometimes I hear things that aren't even human. Whatever they are, they sound really, really big.
I don't lie to bless your child.
Thank you, quick reaction time. That may have been the Candy Store Killer, or occultist, or whatever we saw earlier. Either way, fortunately, just holding a cross was enough to be rid of them. Now to see if there's anything to the right. Yes. And also a giant hole in the ground, evidently. When I was a boy, my nana used to tell me old legends about the dragons, trolls, and demons that lived up in the mountains of Norway. In those old tales, the people were never strong enough to kill the monster, so instead they would sacrifice one of their own to appease it, keep it satisfied. It was like a deal with the devil. One sacrifice per year, so that a beast would not come down from the mountain and slaughter the entire village in one night. There was no candy store killer. What we're dealing with is not even human. When I got separated from the other officers, I saw the damn thing dragging around what was left of Jenkins down into its lair. That's when I understood. The bums and tweakers, the ones with grid and the child prostitute runaways, eventually come back to the tunnels. They always do. I can have them, for all I care. Nobody wants them around, except maybe that thing. I tell you what, I hope to God it never gets tired of them. Ah. That would be an outdated term for AIDS. Also, while I'm tapped out, let me just remove them. Important, locked, and banned. And back to the left we go. Alas, nothing to the right this time. Well, that seems rather ominous. I'm afraid to say at this point it might be just a little too late. The Decisions, decisions, which direction to go? Well, this direction has a flashlight,
Will you listen?
so I'll do it.
You get everything. Here I go. I'm here, please.
No, children.
You get everything. Here I go. Nearby favor.
Of Shining, a video game. Just what we need, random twins cropping up and disappearing in and out of the ether. And we now have a flashlight for the tunnels. Great. Who knows what that read? They hate the light. More symbols. It appears there's going to be a handful of things randomly attempting to chase us down elsewhere in here. Aside from those children running around in and out of our periphery.
Does not seem to have got rid of them.
But it did get rid of the wall blocking our way forward.
Ah.
Three blockades, an upside down pentagram, a puppet child, and what looks like what we were turned into. You must first conjure as demon. You must then serve as demon. You must then walk among the children of men as his demon.
Here I am. Daily to it. offering good then. There will he be also. We can banish this demon together. You must protect me while I recite the 91st Psalm. Let us go.
Well, alright, and suddenly we have the priest from the prologue, which isn't actually a prologue. This'll go well.
Yes, it's true what happened to Amy. You are no murderer, God. There is not much you could have done. But maybe now her soul is at rest. Let us go. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. I shall not be afraid of the terror in the night, nor the evil that walketh in darkness. I shall behold the reward of the wicked, because I have made the Lord my refuge.
Well, that's...
Mortis.
well, that's unfortunate. Unfortunately, he also dies in one hit.
In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress. My God, in Him I will trust. I shall not be afraid of the terror in the night, nor the evil that walketh in darkness. I shall behold the reward of the wicked, because I have made the Lord my refuge. There shall no evil befall me, for He shall give His angels charge over me. They shall bear me up in their hands, and I shall tread upon the serpent, because I have set my love upon Him. Therefore will He deliver me. He will deliver me in trouble. He will deliver me and honor me. Vade post me sacana, exodi domine Patri. Vade post me sacana, exodi domine Patri. Vade post me sacana, exodi domine Patri. Mortis.
Fortunately, we have activated a checkpoint. The morning breaks. Fortunately, it was a dream, although perhaps something informative and telling of what might be to come. John, I can't do this anymore. I'm sorry. I'll always love you back, Mulder.
I'm not going in there.
Well, fair enough, but exactly what is in? John, we don't have much time. The profane Sabbath is almost upon us. If we find Nathan Jason, we'll perform a ritual on him and call forth a demon of unspeakable power. The name of the demon is Malphus. I'm in the process of discovering their whereabouts. I will contact you again soon. You must not let them do to the boys what they did to Amy. Father Garcia.
My nightmares are getting worse. Ever since I left that house, I am haunted by visions of demons. I finished my work with Amy, but now the boys are in danger. This time I must not fail. Malphus must be stopped. As the profane Sabbath draws closer, the workers of darkness grow stronger. This will be my greatest test of faith yet. God have mercy on my soul.
Ending 1. Go forth with faith. There are 2 other endings, suffice to say one of them happens if we don't keep Father Garcia alive. As for the third, well, we'll just have to do something that we did like the first chapter. Have to play by their rules. Fortunately, since we know it's a dream, whatever we do won't have lasting consequences, but there is that one note we weren't able to get. No background, no effect, and new play mode. We will not be using the turbo mode because that also speeds up the enemies. I will see what the new effect is though. Ah, well, I don't believe we'll be using this. Oh god, I forgot about that. I believe we'll have that for the replay. Obviously, while Faith Chapter 2 is still short, it is obviously longer than the first chapter, so I will only be doing one more replay of it in order to get the band ended.
That is fair.
So I believe I'll be reducing it by about 10 more decibels, because it appears to be about even with my speaking volume. Hopefully this is a little better, although obviously the menu music is a little louder. Missing 12 of the notes. Surprised we're missing that many, but I did figure that 35 was quite a lot. Ah, that would partly explain it. So, maybe not, excuse me. There are additional notes in the prologue which appear to also be It says there are 8 in the prologue and 28 in Chapter 2 on the wiki, but that would add up to 36. Why? Why is this a note? You collect this note after viewing the fact that you don't remember this note. I think let's track those down at a later time. For now, let's go ahead and play through, and then I will go through with the prologue. Just to be clear, this is not the prologue. Fortunately, now that we know how to combat certain enemies, and we've already read all the notes, and the fact that we can skip through cutscenes, this should go a little faster. Unfortunately, this is not part of the cutscene.
I need to make you better first. She let you get on me. Reviews are meant to be people.
Away he goes.
Dios mío, what have you done?
Good for you, that's still not a proper response to the question.
You shall breathe the wrath of the Almighty.
It's such a ridiculous walk cycle. Simply, we didn't get a good look at this one. These ones likely refer to the notes that we found prior in regards to people who have gone missing. Leastwise, because they have symbols carved into them that we saw later on in the tunnels.
I'm on it.
You look like a salamander.
Bio-lantern.
Of course it had to jump to that one. And away we go again. It appears he's occasionally able to change his mind as to which one it wants to jump to in the event that it goes off. Which is interesting, if annoying. No, I need to go up first. Well, you did good for you, and you'll see me one more time, just not on stream. Also, hello, Theo. Hopefully, perhaps is doing alright. Hopefully, you managed to get a bit
Oh.
more rest than some of us. Now then, while we have a bit of a blood trail going, some of you may recall a certain set of 5 rolls. We said to start with the upper left point. We've got a bit of a walk, so John, we're just going to have to deal with that bleeding eye for a little longer. I did say to start at the upper left point, yes. At least when I recall a letter about it. Unless I'm just not being straight about it. Let's go ahead and go back up. Fortunately, the blood trail resets. There we are. Waterloo note. Fortunately, he's also stopped bleeding. Thank you. Notes. No patient. Initial consultation. Subject. John Thomas Ward. Present. Dr. James Spinell, PhD, and 2 orderlies. Subject non-responsive for first half hour, followed by a fragmented exorcism narrative. Subject unable to maintain consistency in story. For example, stating that Amy was in the basement and then saying she was in the attic. The subject insists incident was a result of demonic possession. Cannot declare subject of sound mind. Will require several more sessions to fully understand subject's mental state. Will advise Martin family attorneys. Incidentally, this does line up with the first chapter. You go into the basement. Something starts running you down, and then suddenly you're upstairs with Amy peering over the bed at you. Then she chases you down for a while, and you try to exercise her in the attic. At any rate, step 1 complete. Actually, well, now we're bleeding again. I suppose there's some sort of flag in here that has yet to reset itself. While I'm in this relatively safe location, I'm going to go ahead and step away to use the privy. I'll be back in a few minutes. As is tradition, we'll be running a 3-minute ad break. In the meanwhile, feel free to perceive the moon. She is quite adorable.
Perceive the ad, do not perceive the moon.
seems to be meowing.
Welcome back.
Thank you, my dear.
I do not know why he is meowing.
That's you to be moving.
Why though?
Because you are a cow.
Yeah. Moo.
Good girl. That's my good girl.
Thank you.
And meanwhile, John appears to have formed a bit of a puddle. Let's get him moving before it congeals. It's still not explained in any capacity. I can only assume that John, in addition to being claustrophobic, is also randomly afraid of trees. Right, let's find this cursed child. Ah, yes, there it is. I was absently reminded of Matthew 18, verse 6. But whoever causes one of these little ones who believe in me to sin, it would be better for him to have a great millstone fastened around his neck, though he drowned in the depth of the sea. It's a good thing this is a dream, yes. Well, we can hear the child, but I've yet to actually see him. This little skeleton has probably seen us in better days. Perhaps I merely need to walk a bit away for a moment. That doesn't appear to be working. Perhaps I need to get rid of the spindly woman first. Which would make sense given the fact that it could simply just appear on any of the screens we need to be in. Although she does appear to start in the upper right every time.
Forces flush.
Right, so let's go ahead and save real quick, and then I'll go ahead and see about tracking down the purple child who walks behind the rows. If not for the fact it was a dream, I would severely question the layout of the cemetery. Well, we have a child now. It was a time to introduce it to a father.
What do you see? You're a bad man.
Well, let's go and get it again. Perhaps this is how Orpheus felt. Though at least our journey is not quite as painful. I have no idea what you just said, child.
What do you see?
Alright. Ah, the mirror demon. Hello again. Quite a bit more resistant this time. And another note. The subject is suffering from delusion. In John's mind, he plays the role of the hero sent by God to protect the innocent. In order to escape the consequence of his actions, he has created his own reality. In order for everything to make sense, he needs to believe in the evil spirits and paranormal occurrences. I recommend an in vivo approach until we can get John to accept the truth. And for the love of God, please have Mrs. Martin transferred to another facility. Somehow John knows that she is in here with him. Which means that, at least while John was in the halfway house, Amy was also there with him. Might have done wonders for his mental state. Alright, time to pull up that screenshot once more. Right, time for round 2. Incidentally, you cannot merely hold down or space to get through this. Once you hit that section, you have to keep hitting down for each line. Fortunately, this area provides a hint as what we are meant to do next. A conveniently placed bit of rock. Hello, how are you fine folks doing? Having a good day? Evidently I need to get both of them so I can't be too chicken. That is an interesting death screen, I want to say.
Sorry, why did you die?
I was ran over by a truck.
I thought you were underneath the bridge.
We went on top of the bridge a moment ago.
Yeah.
We went back down, as the arrow instructed, popped out of this odd little tunnel, went up, and up,
Is he?
and there we go. Missed me this time. Though there does not appear to be a note for this like there was the last time we did something. Alright, yes, there's mainly as no notes into the next section. Just wanted to make sure. Back into the candy tunnel we go. Hello and goodbye. Well, seeing as it gave us a save and a checkpoint, I suppose it's worth seeing what it actually looks like if you get killed by that thing in here. It's just a pass-by satin limbs. Alright, fair enough. We simply get stabbed at it. That seems to check out. There's still no way past this wall to the suspicious pit of death beyond it. Back into the tunnel of death. Still unsure what that says, if it's meant to be scrambled or nonsense or Latin or many backwards. I'm sure it might say on the wiki, but I'm not going to check. But if I can just get by these schools. As you can see, this way is blocked by some of the red hands that normally see us in during cutscenes.
Right.
Which is why we have to cleanse this. With all 3 tasks clear. Well done, thou good and faithful servant. We shall visit thee soon. Well, not much of a note, in my opinion.
Here I am. Daily to it. Don't be afraid, son. Where 2 or 3 are gathered in God's name, there will he be also. We can banish this demon together. You must protect me while I recite the 91st Psalm. Let us go. Yes, it's true what happened to Amy. You are no murderer, God. There is not much you could have done. But maybe now her soul is at rest. Let us go. In nomine Patris et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. I will say of the Lord, he is mine.
Well, that didn't last for very long. His own fault for going into an odd corner, I suppose. I was going to make an effort to keep him alive, despite the fact that we are not going for any kind of good ending, but fortunately it is still quite a lengthy process regardless. How nice of her to move his corpse to a more centralized location.
I'm not going in there.
Last no note down here from Father Garcia this time. Release form, subject John Thomas Ward. Date of release, 31st of October 1986. This form certifies that the subject is hereby released from my care after having completed the required counseling and treatment to my satisfaction, with confidence that they are ready to resume their normal daily activities as a mentally stable member of society. Dr. James Spinell, PhD. Existing conditions: mild anxiety, acute coulrophobia. Why is John afraid of clowns? Who knows?
I'm not going in there.
Well, they did say that they see us soon. Ending 3. Initiation. Now, well, obviously it would be simple enough to get to the second ending, which is merely to go through a regular neutral ending without worrying about keeping Father Garcia alive or doing the evil bits. At this point, it's not so much an issue of time, so much as the fact that I doubt you would want to watch me go through this game a third time, given the longer length. In which case, like I said prior, we're going to go through the prologue, and then that'll be that for Chapter 2.
Sorry, you're going for the prologue?
Yes.
Did you not already do that?
No, as I explained previously, the prologue is not what we encountered, it is something else entirely. It is not the bit for Father Garcia and Michael Davies, as you can see. The car appears to have encountered a bit of trouble. A number of cars appear to have encountered some form of trouble, it seems.
Those trees will just jump out at you.
A little reminiscent of one of the endings. One of the endings in the first chapter had you driving into a tree after running into a deer.
Whatever was in that truck left.
Our car is now on fire.
Situation
We
is
are
not
now on
improving.
fire.
What?
More days.
Wonderful.
It also appears that the body that was in the other car has left. Incidentally, that ending happens when you hit a deer after you shoot a deer. You are then catapulted out of the car and are then murdered by deer in retribution.
Reasonable.
White resistance scarecrow.
Yeah, this is taking a lot.
kill. Swear by himself.
Well, alrighty then. Curious.
Destroy the child. My faith is weak. Take what you sow.
Can outpace us.
Dirty kill. Swear by himself. Destroy the child. My faith is weak.
The Scarecrow does appear to be degrading a little bit.
Take what you sow. We know what you did.
What exactly is it that he did? Aside from this poor Scarecrow. Ah, well, that's a dead dog right there.
R.I.P. Doggo.
About a week ago, we started hearing those awful noises coming from the adjacent fields. After 3 nights, the children were getting pretty scared. I told them it was just coyotes. That 3rd night, the noises seemed closer than ever. The dogs were panicking. I could hardly approach them. Then Greta, the last of that old line brought over by the German missionaries, broke loose and tore off into the corn. We all listened, too scared to go after her. The rocks faded away into the distance. After that, we had 2 nights of silence, besides the endless whispering of the wind blowing through the crops. But then this morning, I stepped outside to see this fresh horn left at the edge of the field. There's something out there. Alas, poor Greta. What more could I have done? I warned them not to go into the fields. I warned them against straying too far from the sanctuary. Should I have shut them in their quarters and nailed boards over the doors? Now I'm digging 6 graves here in the shadow of the church. 6 little graves forever looking to St. William. Some of the boxes are empty. The scattered remains we found couldn't fill them all. But I know they're all gone. I know their souls were taken by that thing in the field. I'll finish my gruesome work and then renounce the ministry. Don't want to see anyone from the sanctuary ever again. Not even that girl who stayed inside the house last night. I don't believe in the devil anymore. Whatever it is, this is much, much worse. Well, I have good news and bad news. The good news is you can still believe in the devil. The bad news is it was the devil. You can switch that auto around depending on how you feel. Back in Snake Meadow Church. No candles this time. We've a new volunteer to look after the children and take care of things around the sanctuary, Sister Belle. She came highly recommended by the main office in Hartford. Bringing her in marks the completion of staffing the church after all these years. The church has been very careful about letting out what happened to those children. As far as I can tell, I'm the only one left who knows about it. Soon I'll be gone, and the sanctuary will be able to go back into service, having finally left those dark times behind. We've even received clearance to move in a new group of children, 3 next week and another 3 sometime next month. Well, this seems different. Well, alright, if it... I'm sorry, that was completely incomprehensible. Sister Belle seems like a naturally cheery person, but when the new children arrived, she became positively elated. She dolls over them constantly, takes them on walks, and tells them stories long into the night. I've seen her engaging in strange behavior. We don't teach the children much dancing or singing besides what's found in the hymns, but I've seen the children dancing around Sister Belle in a circle from time to time. While they danced, she stands still and looks up at the sky as if listening to something. On another occasion, I found all 6 children standing in a line just outside a cornfield. They were all looking into the field where Sister Belle is standing and talking to them. These odd games don't bother me too much, since she's so good with the children. Her cleaning is excellent too. As soon as she arrived, she seemed to just instantly know her way around. Perhaps you should have thought to talk to someone. Let's just pop out and back in. Unfortunately, that did not trigger a save, so hopefully I don't have to go against that thing again. Thou shalt not kill. Well, something to that effect, given how oddly this is positioned. It's only single cross rolling this time. They couldn't have given me a worse last case before retirement. Old Catholic church out in the middle of nowhere, 1 missing woman, 4 missing kids, and 1 deceased old nun. The brothers and sisters, or whatever the hell that work here call themselves, are all terrified and worse, superstitious. All except Father Clark, who runs the place. Him and I drive along the Farborough the night, looking for signs of the missing people, and it makes for pretty good company. There are 2 kids left. Say they were asleep the night the 4 went missing. They also claim that the woman, Miriam Bell, isn't actually gone. When I ask where she is, they look at each other, then back at me and ask me to ask her myself. Well, that is a pile of something. No note. I wonder how much of this was... Well, alrighty then. I can't help but wonder how much of this is because it might have been copied and pasted from the main chapter. For example, perhaps nothing from that, because, well, it was programmed to be something to be exercised, and then obviously there was the Scarecrow, although it looks like we have something here. This morning we found these very odd objects around the church. The best way I can describe them would be large, life-size dolls made of sticks and dead tree branches. Someone must have placed them there while we were sleeping. Hoodlums, maybe, or a group of weirdos. The kids seem fixated on these doll things. They stare out the window at them all day. I even heard them shout that they saw Miriam standing around them. But when I looked, there was nobody there. Maybe it's the strange behavior of the kids, or the hours of driving these farm roads at night, but this place is getting to me. I keep having the same nightmare where I'm standing outside the church, looking out into the fields. I can see people looking back at me through the rows of corn. Their bodies are painted red.
We are many. I had no choice.
Perhaps I have new triggers, it seems, seeing as each of these gives me a new note. I should have known this place was no good. The signs are all around me. Disappearances, the creepy twins, the life-size stick dolls. 4 of them. Around 2 in the morning, we woke up to the sound of an old woman's cackle coming from the hallway outside the kids' room. It sounds crazy, but when we got to the hallway, the laughing was coming from a painting of the Virgin Mary. We thought we had lost our minds. Just then we heard a loud noise coming from the chapel. We got there just in time to see Miriam drag the kids down the stairs leading to the basement. I drew my service weapon, but was stopped by Father Clark. He said something about God's work and head down the stairs, sealing the opening to the stairs behind him. The stairs don't seem to open from the side. All I could do was wait. Can't describe the noises I heard down there, but one thing is certain. It definitely is real. Anyone reading this, please, for the love of God, don't go down into that basement. Well, that was a bit sudden.
Mortis.
Let me just check this, assuming there's meant to be some sort of order. Right, left, up, down. Or perhaps it's meant to be a middle.
I will not bless your child.
No, it looks like the basement isn't fully open until we do this regardless.
We are many. I had no choice.
The question being how we're meant to survive them charging at you. I guess I just had to go to the one on the right, okay. Nothing back down here, so I suppose that is just the middle.
will cook receiver. Wait, please. Here I go. I'm here, please. Nearby favor.
Well, hello and goodbye, suspicious old woman. Here's the ritual of the door to hell. Let no brother or sister enter it. He that is master of spirits, let 3 spirits that follow the dragon be put into the effigy of the accursed. Only then can it be purified. You will know it is time when its eyes glow red. To enter the unseen world, destroy the purified effigy with fire. Then shall the door to hell be opened. This is the ritual of the door to hell. No brother or sister utter it. Well, we know where we can find some fire.
Here I am. Daily to it.
And that was that. Although, of course, it seems like there might be a little more to it than that.
What I am about to do has not been approved by the Vatican.
Missing 6 points. Which then, of course, puts us into this prologue and then the main game. Oh, and we've unlocked new backgrounds, delightful. Which would be this, I suppose. I said we had unlocked a new background, which would be this one.
Probably the most pleasant looking one.
I can only
So
assume...
did I see an option in the settings called demons?
Correct. Demons enabled.
Not disable the demons.
Correct. As I mentioned, there is an extra mode that can be unlocked after you have beaten all 3 games back to back without any deaths. Good mode only.
Right.
This would be the setting that lets you do that, which unfortunately I will likely not be able to show off due to the inconsistency of survival.
Yeah.
Let me just check something really quick. So while I'm thinking about it, let's see what notes we have. We have all of the notes at least. That's irritating, but so it goes. I suppose that wasn't too long, so I can do that real quick. Right, you may recall the scarecrow we were unable to purify. Evidently, we are meant to do that after everything else.
What was that, sorry?
We are meant to purify the scarecrow after everything else.
Okay.
So is there anything up here, or is this just smoke? Well, perhaps this leads straight to the church. No, that leads to the scarecrow as well.
Swear by himself.
Fortunately, since we know what we're doing this time, it shouldn't take terribly long. Which is why I'm bothering to go through this rigmarole again to see exactly what happens when we take care of that scarecrow.
My faith is weak. Take what you sow. Show what you did.
I wonder if doing marathon mode, which takes you through all the games, also puts you into the prologue.
I will not bless your child. We are many. I had no choice.
Still unsure what triggered that one to chase me down, unless I was either too close, or he just didn't like me in particular, or if it's joke's on you wanting to go down the right.
Will you listen? You get him. Here I go. I'm here, please. get everything. Here I go.
Fortunately, the exercising powers of the cross is a decently sized cone, roughly the size of a flashlight.
Wait, please. Here I go. Here you can get me. Nearby forever.
Right, and with that done, we should be able to go take the scarecrow. Yes. Although there will obviously be one tricky thing. We do need fire after all, and we only really have one way to get fire. Fortunately, fire isn't terribly far from it, but also doesn't. Adva's not quite there. It's not. There we are. Which also seems to have cleaned the guts out of it. Until I inspect it, in which case it suddenly has to get, but alright. Incidentally, there's actual canonical reason why John is so slow in particular. He apparently suffered a leg injury as a child. Fortunately, in this case, he can go fast.
Makes sense.
Found the other children. And then some.
Not certain that's a good thing.
Well, we have this thing again. Well, to be fair, we were on fire. Hello there. There are 6 of those. Alrighty then.
Okay.
Made of this, find all chapter 2 prologue endings.
When I am about to
I guess he just
go
stays that
in
way,
a
but
room, I love that again.
Score 666 out of 666. Great. Jane approves, get a top score. The most demonic pupper you have ever seen. Well, except perhaps Cinder, but that's neither here nor there. I don't know the new background. Is it of Jane? It would be very dumb, but it would be very amusing. Notice this. In case you want to feel like you're playing on a Tiger electronic handheld, I suppose. We will not be sticking with that. Granted, I'm going to use another background than I have been using for the 3rd chapter. We just won't be using that one. At any rate, that was Faith, Chapter 2. And while it was just a dream, it was definitely number of warnings of things to come, as well as a recollection of various things that happened in the past. What is certain is that Chapter 3 will deal with the profane Sabbath, and to be frank, it is the chapter I am wholly unfamiliar with, as opposed to knowing utterly about Chapter 1 and knowing about most of Chapter 2, with the exception of the nonsense of the prologue. I had no idea about that mess. What did you think, dear?
I mean, I think it's neat. It's got a really good style to it. I think the aesthetic of this game is really its strongest point.
Yes, very old Atari, with some delightful, chipper renditions of classical music and hymns. And of course, some rotoscoping here and there. Always have to love and appreciate a rotoscope when done well.
Mhm.
Now with that out of the way, and just as a what to do about next week, the author should be back on Monday in order to continue on with what's it he was playing? Assassin's Creed 2, which I appear to have purged it out of my brain after having been grieving about the controls earlier. Then the bird brain might be back on Tuesday, but he's even more infrequent than I am due to the so-called Tuesday curse. And then, of course, I shall be back next Wednesday with the third chapter of Faith, hopefully with my adorable doll in tow. Such a good girl. We did have plans for this Sunday, but unfortunately some happenings beyond our control have prevented that. So we'll probably give you a heads up as to those plans and other plans moving forward sometime next week or the week thereafter. In which case, keep an eye out for the 20th. I'll elaborate later. For now, I bid everyone a good evening. Please stay well, get some rest, and stay well fed.
Good night.
Such a good girl. Such a good mood.